Welcome back to NFL Talking Points. I'm your host, Joseph Gardner, today going over the Week 14 Power Rankings with Matthew Arscott of the Matthew Arscott Sports Show. We're going to get right into it. Matthew, how are you doing this week?
Not as good this week, I'll tell you, Joseph. I mean, we have to be honest. I'm a Colts fan, and I'm so stoked about. It's Week 14. We're getting there, and this week's a little rough, man. I think we got a shaky future ahead, but let's leave it at that. I've had better days as an NFL fan. Let's see what we're talking about today.
Yeah, you've got Phillip Rivers in the building at least. You got to be excited for 44-year-old Phillip Rivers, right?
I'm more excited for 44-year-old Phillip Rivers than I am for the way that Riley Leonard from Notre Dame rookie performed last week. And our backup quarterback as of a few days ago was Tyler Warren, also rookie, tight end out of Penn State. So we're excited, but we're optimistic. I don't know if I should say excited. We're optimistic. Phillip Rivers brings us optimism. So
better than what you got right now available. Better than Tyler Warren probably. So
that's right.
All right, let's move into power rankings. We'll start with tier 1 for our YouTube audience. They can see all of our combined rankings there in the middle. But for our audio listeners, I'm just going to list off everything that we've got combined, starting with the top 5 teams staying the same as they did last week. Patriots at 1 on a bye, Rams at 2, Seahawks at 3, Bills at 4, Broncos at 4, and Bills at 5. Same top 5 as last week, followed by the Packers up 1 spot to 6, Bears down 1 to 7, and 49ers up 1 off of a bye to 8. You and I kept the 49ers where they were at, but because of the Eagles dropping out of tier 1, someone has to fill their spot, and the 49ers are that team. I've got the 49ers at 7, and you've got the 49ers at 10. That's how the 49ers sneak up into tier 1. Matthew, anything on this tier?
Yeah, man. Let me answer your question with a question. You didn't change anything in tier 1. Why?
Yeah, I'm very happy with where I have everything. I had Rams, Seahawks, Patriots, Broncos. You and I have the same top 4, followed by the Bills, Packers, 49ers, Bears. I'm really happy with where I have everything. I'm really happy that I took the Eagles out of tier 1 last week, and that made it so that I didn't have to change too much around. I also had the Packers over the Bears last week, so I didn't have to switch that up. So pretty much everything went exactly how I was expecting it to go, and that's why my tier 1 doesn't change at all. Can't say the same thing about tier 2, though.
Yeah. Well, and can't say the same about my tier. My tier did not. My tier 1, I mean, the first 4 kind of stay in the similar position. Of course, the Patriots with their bye, and then Broncos, Seahawks, Rams all getting solid wins. Packers move up with their win. But for me, I think the big thing is the fact that a lot of guys move up because a lot of my tier 1 teams are now moving down. The Eagles are out. The Colts are out. Let's talk about that here moving into tier 2.
Absolutely. Lions up 2 spots to 9. Jaguars up 2 spots to 10, Chargers up 4 spots to 11, Texans up 4 spots to 12. Obviously, we have a lot of big drops if we've got all these big moves up the board, and that starts with the Eagles down 5 spots to 13, Colts down 5 spots to 14, Ravens down 2 to 15, and the Cowboys up 1 to 16. You and I had Colts, Ravens, and Cowboys 14, 15, 16 back-to-back. You and I also had the Colts. You and I have the Colts in the same spot the last 4 weeks. We keep moving them the exact same amount over and over. It feels like we know where this Colts team is going. Hopefully we can get a turnaround there. The biggest thing for me right now, Chargers and Texans both up 4 in this section. That's pretty big, especially for a Chargers team that has had a lot of suspicion, especially with their offensive line. A Texans team that just doesn't really have the offense, but their defense has been playing out of their minds. What do you see in this one, Matthew?
Yeah, well, first of all, back to that Colts comment that you made there a minute ago. Adam Schefter of the NFL Insider crew does not agree. He thinks that the Colts are out of the playoffs now with the injury we were talking about here at the beginning of the episode. Of course, Daniel Jones tearing his right Achilles here in this last week's game against the Jaguars. Colts dropped so much for us and will continue to drop in that direction. You know, we can hope for a good turnaround with 44-year-old quarterback Phillip Rivers, but of course, we've kind of seen his age is catching up to him at certain points. He hasn't played since 2020, the last time he did play. NFL talking point for you. Of course, the Indianapolis Colts. Joseph, Indianapolis has not won the division since 2014, 2015. It has been at least 10 years, and they continue to lose this division now. Meanwhile, Eagles, I'm looking back at my list again. They've dropped 5 for us combined, 6 total for me. Kind of crazy, but I feel like that I had to put the Chargers above them. I originally had my power rankings ready to go on Monday night with an Eagles win prediction or even a close game. And even though it was a close game, I still moved the Eagles down below the Chargers because of the win that Justin Herbert and company was able to get done. Just looking at the rest of this, Cowboys continue to move up. Ravens, unfortunately, moving down continually. They continue to disappoint me the last couple of weeks after what looked like they were just missing Lamar Jackson earlier this season. Now it just looks like that there's kind of some empty air in Baltimore. So that's everything for tier 2 for me. Let me just look real quick over at yours. I mean, nothing really drastic changing. You're moving the Jaguars and Texans up this week so much. I mean, AFC South, any opinions from you on the AFC South?
I mean, it's on its way up from the bottom outside of Tennessee. I mean, obviously they get a win this week as well, but it's going to be a very, very competitive race to get into the playoffs in the AFC. And I think for all of these AFC South teams, their number one thing is they've just got to win the division to know that they're going to get in. Otherwise, there's no guarantee that you're going to make the playoffs with how competitive it is. Last thing on this one, you had Eagles, Colts, and Ravens all in Tier 1 just 2 weeks ago. And now they're all just falling, and that's due to just poor play the last few weeks. They looked like such promising teams just 2 weeks ago, and man, things change fast. So
offensive coordinator issue out there in Philadelphia. The Colts quarterback issue. Ravens just a defensive issue. They showed bad defensive play the early part of the season. That's kind of coming back to bite them in the butt.
And lots of turnovers for that Ravens team as well. So, Okay, let's go on to Tier 3. Steelers up 3 spots to 17 coming off of their win over the Ravens. Chiefs down 4 to 18. Panthers stay where they're at on a bye at 19. And you and I had the Panthers the same last week. Neither of us changed that, so they stay as a match for us. Bengals up 2 to 20 off of a loss, but a close competitive loss to the Bills. Dolphins up 1 spot to 21. Bucks down 4 to 22 after losing to the Saints. You and I had the Bucks matching last week. Again, you and I both dropped the Bucks 4 spots to match still this week. Vikings up 1 to 23. We match there now because I moved the Vikings up to where you had them last week. And the Falcons drop 1 to 24. 3 matches, Panthers, Buccaneers, and Vikings for us. To me, I had to drop the Chiefs 6. And put them down here to 17. You only had to drop them 3 because you dropped them 10 last week, and that 10-point drop is looking better and better, it seems. The thing that I see the biggest difference between you and I on this one is the Steelers. You've got up 4 spots. I've only got the Steelers up 2. I think that was a close, gritty, weird, competitive divisional game. I'm not going to give the Steelers too much, although you and I still have the Ravens over the Steelers in our power rankings. What do you see on this section here?
Yeah, so let's talk about that with the AFC North right now. I do think that the Ravens end up still taking that division, which is why I'm leaving them over the Steelers for now. But Steelers get a good little boost there. Steelers are a weird team for me, man. They are one that just continues to show until they don't show. I mean, the Steelers beat the Colts a few weeks ago, which kind of started the Colts' downfall, if we're going to be honest. I mean, the Colts only have 1 win since that Steelers loss, and it was to Atlanta overseas in overtime, and we see how bad Atlanta is. So Steelers, back and forth. The rest of this here, though, of course, Chiefs are going to continue to move down. Buccaneers, man, NFC South, I'm just going to continue to beat a dead horse here like I do every week on this episode. But NFC South is just a horrible division, so unfun to watch. Kind of fun to see the Saints pull a little bit of an upset there. That's pretty awesome. Other than that, though, tell me a little bit about your sense of moving the Chiefs down. I kind of wanted to know a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, I moved them down 6. It's my biggest drop of the week, and I mean, they're under 500 now.
Yeah,
and on the outside looking in, and unlike the teams around them, like the Ravens or the Cowboys, they just don't stand a chance of making the playoffs at this point because they can't win their division. You can see the Cowboys maybe coming back if the Eagles win a few more or lose a few more games. You can see the Ravens taking this division still. You can see the Panthers at 6-7 taking the division from the Bucs. The Chiefs are just they're competing with the Chargers and the Broncos, who are both absolute powerhouses. Oh yeah. And I couldn't keep them up in that tier 2 after going under 500 in what seems like should be winnable games for this team. So
100%. Yeah, it's just a bad part of the season for the Chiefs to start really showing some flaws. I do remember one more thing in here in tier 3. Bengals up on a loss. I mean, we both did it. Not going to lie, seeing them with Joe Shiesty back just looks like a different team. So even under the loss, it looked like a win for this Bengals team.
Yeah, Bengals now down to a 9% chance to make the playoffs. Almost impossible. They obviously have to win out. Their best bet at this point is most likely just to have the Steelers and the Ravens both just do terribly down the stretch, and maybe they can steal the division. They are only 3 games behind the Ravens. So, I mean, who knows? Yeah. Obviously, it's very much an uphill battle. They are likely to be eliminated in the next week or two. Lastly, Tier 4. I got this mixed up. So for our video, our YouTube audience, you're gonna have to hear what this actually is, because this was incorrect when I put it in. So at 25, we've got the Cardinals. They stay actually our bottom from 25 to 29 all stayed the same as last week. So we've got the Cardinals, Commanders, Jets, Saints, and Giants going 25, 26, 27, 28. All of them stayed. For some reason, I got confused with something else and brought the Jets up 2 spots this week in the visual, but looking back at it, forgot to change the visual. So there's that. We are pretty much the same 25 through 29. Where we get difference is the last 3. Titans up 2 to 30 off of their win over the Browns. The Browns down 1 to 31. Raiders down 1 to 32. I had the Raiders down to 32 last week because I thought this Titans team was better. I was kind of projecting a little bit. I wasn't sure this Titans team was going to get a win over the Giants or over the Browns, but here we are, and yet I kept the Titans at 31, kept the Browns at 30. That reason is because the Titans had a 3.2% chance to win this game based off of post-game win expectancy. In no way should the Titans have won that game. Shedeur Sanders played really well. The defense played really well for the Browns. It was just the craziest game. Special teams errors, turnover, like all sorts of stuff just happened to go the Titans' way. And so for that reason, I kept the Titans at 31, Raiders at 32, Browns at 30. You've got the Titans up to 29 over the Giants, Browns, and Raiders. Anything else you have on this section, Matthew?
No, you took all the words right out of my mouth. You spoke it into existence last week. You've said it perfectly this week. I do agree. The Browns are the Browns look good. Shedeur Sanders, I owe him an apology. Not that I was ever like a Shedeur hater. Like back in the draft when he was dropping so much. I mean, that was still confusing to me. But going into this season, seeing Dylan Gabriel play, I think his first few snaps, I was like, oh, Gabriel's going to be the guy over Sanders. Sanders has come out of his shell. He's proved the haters wrong. I love where the Browns team has potential to go in the future. They are very similar to the Colts in the sense that they have not been able to figure out their quarterback room the last few years. They filled it with some veterans. They filled it with guys that just can't get the job done. That being said, Titans, of course, do move up for me just based on the win. The Browns, similar record, but the Titans have beat them. That being said, the Raiders now, I owe you an apology, but I kind of owe you an unspoken apology. Yeah, sorry, a little bit of a blip there. My phone overheated there for a second, but just finishing up what I was saying, yeah, I'm just an unspoken apology to you about you had the Raiders there last week at 32, and I'm much more of a fundamentals guy. I shouldn't do that with power rankings. Power rankings is more of an emotional thing. But I was basing the Titans at the bottom there just based on their record. Someone has to prove it to me. Well, guess what? They did prove it to me. And the Raiders continue to prove to me that they are looking like the worst team in the league with only, 1 win this season so far? 2 wins this season
Raiders
so far.
With 2 wins.
And
Raiders,
one of them... One of them against the freaking Patriots, man. Are you kidding me?
In week
Oh,
one,
my
the
gosh.
Raiders, the number 32 ranked Raiders, beat our number 1 ranked Patriots team. Absolutely insane. The Giants, coming off of a bye, now have the number 1 seed in the draft. Giants, Raiders, and Titans all 2-11. Looking at playoff implications instead of the draft, because that's much more exciting this time of year, especially for the teams who are going into the playoffs. Lions and Colts on the outside looking in right now at 8-5, both respectable records. Teams like the Buccaneers and Steelers getting in because of their division, and Eagles and Texans kind of in that same boat right now, just kind of eking into the playoffs because of either their division is really bad or and they just are getting in because of that one spot, or in the case of the Texans, they get to play the Titans twice a year. They've now gotten to play the Colts at half-mast. There's just a lot of benefits to playing in a bad division, and you saw that with the Tom Brady Patriots regime. I mean, playing against the likes of the Jets and Dolphins every single year, twice a year, does definitely help. And I think that's why we're seeing the Chiefs also fall so much. This division has gotten incredibly competitive, incredibly fast. And so anything else on playoffs?
No, I think that well, I say no and then I start talking. I think that the playoffs are going to really come down to some weird tiebreakers. Mark my words. This year, it's going to be really interesting these last few weeks. Really interesting to see that we've added one more week on of football, and we might actually just need it after so much talk about should this be added, should this not be added. Guess we'll see.
Yeah. Week 18 is absolutely going to be necessary for almost every team here. I mean, just for playoff seeding in the NFC, you've got teams like the Rams, Seahawks, and Packers all very, very competitive for that number 1 seed at this point. And in the AFC, you've got the Broncos and Patriots who are dueling it out for that number 1 seed, both of which, if they suffer a loss, could be dueling it out with the Bills for a 1 seed or the Jaguars for a 1 seed. So it'll absolutely come down to the last week. Lastly, post-game win expectancy, the Eagles, 5-8. The other teams around them, 5-8, the Vikings and the Browns. According to post-game win expectancy, this Eagles team is next to some of the worst teams in the league. Other thing for me on this, Jaguars, right now their record is 9-4. Post-game win expectancy has them at 6-7. Down with the teams like the Panthers, Ravens, Bucks, Steelers. They should be at least a couple games behind the Colts, and they are in front. They beat the Colts this week. And lastly, Chiefs should be over 500 according to post-game win expectancy, but just barely 7-6 instead of 6-7. Matthew, anything else you have on the post-game win expectancy?
Yeah, Rams up at the top, 12-1. I try to remember where that one loss, right, for the Rams, was that a win that they had over the Colts, or was it that one loss that they had with the Eagles? Like I can't, but I think the Rams are so close to being 13-0 in post-game win expectancy, which just goes to show that this is not a team to be trifled with heading into the postseason. And the Eagles, on the other hand, are a team. You probably want to line up with the Eagles in the postseason.
And I would not be shocked if the Cowboys find a way to kind of sneak up and be competitive in that NFC playoff picture with the Eagles. So, well, thank you for joining me, Matthew, for NFL Talking Points, our Power Rankings episode. Where can our wonderful viewers and listeners find your stuff?
Matthew Arscott Sports Show, wherever you get your podcast. We are talking NFL. We are talking college football. College basketball's in full swing. Lots of fun stuff in baseball right now, moving around, getting ready for the Winter Olympics. So check that out. MASS, your weekly mass. Matthew Arscott Sports Show, wherever you get your podcast. Joseph, thanks again.
Thank you, Matthew, and thank you for listening, watching on YouTube, however you are choosing to get your NFL talking points. I will be back later in the week to do a full weekly episode. I have switched my schedule. Instead of doing 3 episodes a week, it was getting a little bit much, so instead I'm trimming it down to just 2 episodes, the weekly Power Rankings podcast with Matthew, as well as the regular preview and recap in one, so that you guys can get as much information in one episode as you can weekly, so that if there's only one place that you need to go to and you need 20 minutes and you're like, hey, 20 minutes, I want to know everything I need to know about the NFL in its current state, that's what I'm trying to get to you now. And so come back later this week to get that video wrapping up what happened in Week 13, as well as previewing this upcoming Week 14. So thank you, everyone, again, for listening, for watching, and until next time, heed the call.